What is your favorite pagan artwork? Mine is nature scenes. Clouds. Love to watch the clouds in the sky, watching the birds. I have a painting up on my walls. Nature scenes, you know, the river with the mountains in the background with lots of different trees. That's one of my favorite pieces of artwork. 33. What is your favorite pagan music? I do like, I know this is more stereotypical, I do like Enya, but there are a lot of different songs that I like. I mean, the Goddess Chant is nice. I have on my tablet the Pagan World Radio, and I listen to a lot of music. Damn the Bard's nice to listen to as well. I guess I really don't have a favorite because they're just ones I listen to. But it's interesting to me that any song can be pagan if it speaks to you. There is a song by Tommy Shaw, Ever Since the World Began, that just yells at me, you know, I never knew what got me here, as if somebody held my hand. It seems I hardly had to steer, my choice was planned. Those are lyrics from the song, and it just speaks to me. And so even though a lot of people would not consider that to be pagan music because of the message, it's a part of my pagan spirituality. What is your favorite place to visit? Nature parks. I love nature parks. The one I go to has a small stream and a small river that goes through it. I like walking by the river, try to watch some fish and all that. Got to be careful. We got water moccasins in our area. Museums are good too. I like to see things that are creative, so I love museums. Des Moines, Iowa has a science center. It's not the greatest. I wish we had more to it, but the science center talks about weather, and so I like to understand how nature works. So I just like anything that makes me think, you know, outside the box. Number 35. Do you believe in ley lines, places of energy? Heck yes. Many years ago, with my ex-wife, I went to South Dakota, Cosmos, South Dakota, if I remember right. And they had one of those intersections of the ley lines where, you know, everything just feels a little bit weird. The trees were just growing in weird directions because they were bent over and all that, because the gravity was just weird. I felt strange going there. You know, I believe that everybody is gifted in some manner, and so, you know, what gifts I have was, you know, interacting with the energy, or the energy was interacting with me, and I just felt weird. I mean, I had to keep my hands on the rails as I was going up the steps, so I was afraid I was going to fall down. I loved it, but it's a weird feeling. Okay, 36. Do you believe in chakras, auras, or etheric fields? Yes, I do. I believe in the chakras. I believe that people can have their chakras blocked. There are times I know where I'm not flowing very nicely in all my energy levels. My dad taught me how to read auras. The two ways he told me was to stand in front of a mirror and you go where your third eye is, and that's where you stare and try to meditate at the same time, and you will be able to see your dominant color according to him, and it seems to work for me. And then the other way is to for reading other people's chakras, you're supposed to do the same thing to another person, but my dad says that you're supposed to hold their hands. So I haven't tried that much because I'm not that great with that skill, and so I hate to be wrong with somebody. So I got to practice more. What does light and enlightenment mean to you? Enlightenment means knowledge, to be educated, to be a sage. And so enlightenment is very important to me. I hate the idea of being a undereducated dullard, and that just bothers me. So I try to learn constantly. What does light mean? Well, it's all perspective to me, because light is an interpretation of the area around you. Yeah, the light's on, yeah, okay. But there's too many people that say that there are light workers, they're white witches and all that, and that's all perspective, because what you can be doing that you think is positive for you might be harming somebody else, a few miles down the road. So it's all perspective. 38, what does this time of the year mean to you? Again, I already talked about the 4 seasons, so oh well to that. So 39, what does shadow darkness mean to you? Alright, the opposite. Shadow is the contrast of light, and again, it's perspective. We got people that try to say we got to stay away from the darkness and the shadows, and I firmly believe that we have to work within, and deal with darkness, negativity, however you want to work it, however you want to view it. Nature is complex. It is not just love and light and all that, because in nature there's this wonderful balance. An analogy that I love to use is about the wolves and the deer. They're both wonderful, majestic animals, but too few deer and the wolves die. Too many wolves, there's not enough deer, and so they just got to find this right balance, and it will be achieved where there's just the right amount of deer, the light, that live in harmony with nature, and just enough wolves, darkness, and they also have the right balance, and they work together. And when this is achieved, such as what's happened at Yellowstone Park, by reintroducing wolves into Yellowstone Park, it controlled the deer, and with less deer foraging and overeating the grass, a lot of different things were able to return, such as beavers. And with beavers returning, that means the streams and that returned. While streams returned, other life forms were able to come back to Yellowstone Park. And now, just because they introduced the wolves back into Yellowstone, there is more diversity in life forms now than there was 20 years ago when there was no wolves. Light and dark must work together. We cannot just shun the darkness. Number 40, do you believe in angels, demons, fairies, etc.? I believe in entities from another plane. I believe that there are spirits that we do not know of. My better half she kind of educated me a little bit on how there's different spirits. We have humanoid spirits, animal spirits, and elemental spirits, and that, and they're all different, and they all interact differently. Now, there are entities out there that are not nice. Yes. Are they demons? No. I hate how we have this Christian mentality where it's either an angel or it's a demon. It's one or the other, and I hate that duality. Do fairies exist? Yes. There are energies out there that I don't know of, and although I have never seen a fairy, I believe that there are nature spirits out there, and so that's why I give the libations, and I interact with all of nature, or at least try to. Do you believe in an alter life or reincarnation? Yes, I do. I believe that they have shown, there was a report that shows that some memories are transferred to the next generation. But there are times in my life where I was able to do something very well I've never done before. It seems like I somehow knew it for some reason. And there are people that say I have an old soul. And so yes, I believe in reincarnation. I believe that we are reincarnated to learn about, well, we are reincarnated to learn as much as we can. And once our spirit has learned all that there is, then we stay into the other realm and we guide other people. Do you work with ancestors or the deceased? Every once in a while, I call it slapping behind the head. I believe it's either one of my aunts, as well a specific aunt, or my grandma, and they talk to me. I can tell the difference in how the back of my head interacts with them when I ask them yes/no questions. So I do work with the deceased. Ancestors. Because of my love with history, I try to envision what my ancestors were like, when I read about the Celtic tribes, how they live their lives. So, like people like Bodekai are very important to me. As she was one of the first people to lead an army to defeat a Roman legion, I'm just going, oh yeah, baby, because that is impressive. 43 is another, what does this time of the year mean to you? 44, what has been the most influential on your path? Man, that's a tough one. It would have to be my history. Because, I learned what my ancestors did and how wonderful they lived. And I know that I could never live like that, but I do try to embrace as much of that as I can in my life. Okay, 45. What are your favorite pagan spiritual books? Wow. Boy, I got a lot of them. I like Scott Cunningham because Scott Cunningham, he has a couple books that have a lot of information in there. because he has his encyclopedia of magical herbs. He also has a book about gems and stones and metals. That's a good book. I like a lot of books that have a lot of information in there. I love reference books. Some of Scott Cunningham's books, Solitary Guide to the Solitary Practitioner and Living Wicca. They're interesting books. They do have some information in them, but it talks a lot about building your own path, and I think that is what caused such a big problem, because if you've watched any of my videos in the past, I have a problem personally with eclectic Wiccans, because they seem to be going a little bit overboard with doing whatever they want. I like Buckland. I got Big Blue. His Scottish Witchcraft, I have that one. Oberon Zell's The Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard. That's another good book. A lot of information. I gotta have like a full day off to get into that book, because there are times where I'm just like, oh, well, I gotta write this down, and grab one of my notebooks and write some stuff down. So it can take some time going through that book. How do you talk to non-pagans about paganism? That is an experience that I had about 2 weeks ago. There is a co-worker that's having some questions, and so I've been, talking to her a little bit, because you don't want to overload them with things. So I'm asking them little questions, how do you feel about ghosts? Do you like animals? Do you feel a connection with nature? Have you ever been into a room and felt different energies? Have you all of a sudden, entered a room and got the headache or felt cold for no reason? Trying to find out, if they have a gift, and try to figure out, based upon their responses, on what next to say. It's a challenge, because the one thing you don't want to do is overwhelm them, confuse them, and so I just take it slow, really. I like to explain to people that there are more than one religion out there, that the world and the universe are full of different possibilities. There is a ton of information that we don't know, and so they have to keep an open mind. And so I have to tell them to try to forget all their preconceived ideas and open up their mind to new possibilities. Okay. Have you ever experienced spiritual doubt and hesitation? Yes, I have. Death has been kind of hard on me. In my life, I have not dealt with a lot of death on a personal level, because both my parents are alive. My exes, their parents are still alive, excluding one's father. My children are alive. I've lost some aunts and uncles. But sometimes a death just doesn't make sense to me, because people just seem to be so full of life, then all of a sudden for it to be gone, and try to understand it, it's caused some hesitation on my part. My brother almost died once. due to kidney failure. That hesitation was, I was afraid to touch him. Because I was trying to self-teach myself the healing practices and that, and I was able to feel exchanges of energy. I was afraid that if I touched my brother and there was an exchange of energies, that I would get extremely sick, because in some forms of healing, the healer takes on the injuries upon themselves and, you know, pull out the negativity, pull out the poison, the disease, whatever. And I was afraid that it would happen to me, and I didn't want it to happen to me. So that was a scary thing for me to deal with. Number 49. Oh wait, no. Sorry, number 48. What is the most appealing, fulfilling in paganism? There's a lot of things really. It's when I make my videos, I have a wonderful time talking to some people, meet some very wonderful young people, to exchange ideas. I love that. There is a YouTube channel, My Pagan Life. The host, her name's Maya. She is very young. She is a teenager, but she has a wonderful open mind. And, you know, I've made some suggestions and all that, because she was asking for some, and she's responded. We are exchanging dialogue, and I love that. Because I think both of us learn when we exchange ideas. And then I have my artwork that I do. There's a video where I bought this faded fairy statue with a mushroom, and I repainted it. I try to always be creative, and when I get those things done, and, you know, I'm picturing, you know, I'm picturing these pieces of being like a connection. I put my energies into this, and now I'm going to put this outside, and those energies are going to mix with nature, and nature's going to interact with that, and it makes this world a better place. And that, to me, is a very fulfilling feeling. 49. How do you avoid stagnation and spiritual slumps? You can't avoid them as far as I'm concerned. Life happens. We get into ruts. My job, I have highs and lows. There are some times where we are extremely busy. I work in the egg industry. And so you hit Yule, Ostara, we're busy, and so I don't have time. Well, if you go a long period of time where you can't do your spiritual thing, you get into this rut. Then you all of a sudden, oh, I got time, but I haven't done it. Now I gotta. So you're going to run into it, and so you can't avoid it. You just got to get yourself. Keep yourself kind of busy, always on something pagan. I do my artwork, I do videos, I watch videos, read books, I do my research, and that's how I keep it going. It's hard when you have to get out of the slump, but, you know, that's what we do. What advice can you give a new pagan? Keep an open mind. There are a lot of things we don't know. Science is proving pagan ideas right. I mean, all the herbal lore that we used to think were just ha ha ha, funny, 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 is coming true. And scientists are proving it to be real. So, keep an open mind on everything. You don't know if everything you read is a lie or factual. So think about it. Again, number 51 is, what does this time of the year mean to you? Oh well. Number 52, what have you learned this year? What are your spiritual pagan goals for next year? Well, that one is pretty easy. I'm trying to stay more positive in this next year. I get into these little spells where I'm fighting my fight because paganism is very important to me, and so I am fighting my fight, trying to protect the purity of paganism. Gosh, that just sounds terrible, I know. Paganism means a lot to me. I am trying to do my best to keep it looking good and pure for those who do not understand paganism, because there are a lot of people that twist it, that corrupt it, and people that do a lot of propaganda against it. So if I see things that go against paganism, I voice my opinion, and sometimes that means I have to voice opinions against other pagans. And so that I get into these ruts, and they are tough. And so what I have been trying to do is to go 6 months without making a negative pagan video. And I'm doing pretty good on that. Because I'm thinking, if I can go 6 months without making a negative video, I can do that on a bigger scale, go a year, without making a negative video, because if you put a positive spin on things, I think you'll get more people willing to exchange ideas with you. And if you're exchanging ideas with more people, you learn more, and it makes the world a better place. Okay, and then those are my goals also for next year, is just to be a better, nicer pagan. I have that mentality of being an honest asshole, because I want people to know that what you see is what you get. I'm not the fair weather friend. I need to tone that down a little bit more and spend a little bit more time interacting with people on a more social and personal level. So those are the 52 YouTube Pagan Challenge questions. Of course, some of them I couldn't answer because the time of the year thing. But hopefully you get something out of it. I kind of got some things out of it because it gives me something to reflect upon and what I need to work on for this next year. So everybody, take care. Be at peace.